Okay guys, Rail111T here. Just wanted to do a quick overview of a couple of popular lighters. Well, one popular lighter and one kind of a little bit more, I don't know, sort of a fringe kind of collectible lighter. Okay, what you have on the left is a Zippo. Just a regular, this is just a regular Zippo here. Ooh. Nothing super special. It's got kind of a, it doesn't have a crackle finish on it, but it's kind of got a textured black finish on it. You know, basically your standard model though. And then on the right, this is a vintage IMCO Triplex. Okay. Cheaper Than Dirt was selling these for a while, or some version of them. I don't know if they were legit or if they were knockoffs, but this one I bought years and years ago from US Cav had it, and I was, you know, kind of interested in it. I already had Zippos, and this seemed like something interesting and different. Basically, if you're not familiar with the Zippo, this is a, both of these are, I don't know if I'm going to get that to show in there. There's a wick, okay, and they burn a naphtha-based, oh, come on now. Yeah. They burn a naphtha-based fuel, very similar to Coleman fuel. In fact, I burn Coleman fuel generally interchangeably in my Zippos. I discovered that the IMCO does not like Coleman fuel as much as regular lighter fluid. Oh, I'm using this Roncinol right now. Used to feel like I was betraying Zippo when I used to get this, but Zippo owns this company now. Let me see if it says it on there. No, this one might be old enough that it doesn't say it on there. Within the last few years, Zippo has bought Ronson. So, if you go to Walmart, typically Walmart will carry Ronson products. It'll carry that fluid right there instead of the actual Zippo fluid. But, like I said, it's all the same company. Basically, the IMCO is a very similar operation to this. Some differences. The IMCO is made almost exclusively out of aluminum, with, I'm sure, some steel parts. Whereas the Zippo is made out of, almost exclusively out of brass, with steel parts. It's a lot of times not obvious with a Zippo, because usually they've got a coating on them, and usually if you get one that's got a silver finish, it's got like a nickel plating on the brass, but by and large they are brass is the main ingredient in a Zippo, and the exception being, you know, some of the during World War II, the models that were made then, a lot of them were made in steel, and some of those have quite a bit of collector's value. Like the actual case is steel as well. And they had a certain textured black finish. I have not actually held one of those, so I don't know how this textured black finish compares to it. I know that it's referred to as a crackle finish, the ones that, the war finish ones. I tend to think they're maybe a little bit more textured than this. But yeah, you know, they have some definite advantages for bushcrafty type situations. You know, you light it and it stays lit. Okay, it's very durable the way this is built. Okay, and the IMCO shares a lot of those same attributes with a couple of differences. Okay, the wick is enclosed. It has kind of a variable draft for the chimney here, and then you just press down here. I just put a new wick in this, so it's going a little crazy here, but you can open and close that. You're not really seeing, normally you can see a difference in the flame height when you adjust this, but I think I've got that wick just a little too high. And it's just a super high flame, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. one thing that I don't particularly care for about the IMCO is that because it's mostly aluminum, it heats up really fast. You really see the sort of heat sink properties that you have. The brass has to heat up, and even though brass is a good conductor of heat, the aluminum is a better conductor of heat, which means that it's going to conduct it to your hand. Now, to be fair, as a cigarette lighter, it's really not a big deal because you're going to light it and you put it out. Light it and put it out. So it really doesn't affect a smoker at all. One thing that's kind of interesting about the IMCO here is you can actually pull the whole, yeah, I've got that wick a little high. You can pull the whole fuel assembly right out. This little cap down here slides off, and that's where you put the fuel. And it's just a little aluminum, uncoated really, aluminum vial with a cotton batting inside it, and a wick sticking out of the top. Okay, and then set that aside for a second. Here, you got your flint wheel, very similar, and then this is where the rest of the assembly goes. To change a flint, on the Zippo, you pull the insert out, and there's a screw that you unscrew, and it's spring-loaded little brass tube that holds the flint in contact with the striker wheel right there. Okay, it's pretty basic, very simple design. The IMCO gets a little complicated here. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. I might have to, oh, yep, there we go. Okay, so this outer cover swings open, and then there's an inner sort of arm that slides out, and then almost like the chamber of a gun, there's a little, let me see here. If I tap it, yep, there you go. There's the flint, that little red flint there. I guess there's an advantage in that this stays all in one piece. You don't have to worry about losing any fiddly bits or the little spring follower, shooting out somewhere, which if you don't know what you're doing with a Zippo, and you're unscrewing it with a screwdriver and you let tension off at just the wrong moment, that little follower can shoot out of there and then you can't find it. And that really can't happen with this. See if I can, yep. And then this just kind of slides back in, and then you compress it, and there you go. It's back together. I mean, I see the utility of that system. I see the reason behind it. And from what I understand, IMCOs were actually predated the Zippos. I don't know if this particular model, this is the only model I've ever seen, but it seems to me like it's a little bit over-designed. Like, I think that whole flint changing operation is just a little bit too complicated for me, I think. Yeah, but, it's a neato little lighter. I never felt the need when I saw Cheaper Than Dirt was selling them to go out and buy a bunch more of them. They were selling a 2-pack of them, and I remember thinking, oh, well, that's neat. I could get that from Cheaper Than Dirt, but I never really felt compelled enough to actually act on that. You see here, IMCO Triplex, patent made in Austria. So yeah, it says Super. I don't know if that's the model name, IMCO Triplex Super. I don't know. People just put Super on things. So, but yeah, I mean, as a fire starter, they both, have similar issues in terms of, that fluid is going to evaporate over time, So, if you're okay with refueling it, then, they definitely have a place. They definitely have a place for everyday carry. I currently everyday carry a Zippo. This is not the one I everyday carry. But, it's a standard model one. I really prefer the standard model Zippos over those slimline ones that they have on the line. I just don't like the feel of those ones. I don't like it seems like the flame is more anemic in them. I don't know if, what exactly the issue is with them, but, it seems like it was a line they came out to appeal to the ladies. But this is my advice here. And, you don't have to get anything fancy. There's thousands of different designs for the outer finish. But, the simple brushed chrome one that they sell for $10 at Walmart, is great. They have the Zippo guarantee, if it breaks, they'll fix it, no questions asked. I don't think you get that from IMCO, but, yeah. It's kind of a classic design too, So, yep, just a little comparison there, just my thoughts on them. I don't think I ever everyday carried this one. But yeah, definitely I advise everyday carry for a Zippo is great. If you can run a Zippo on Coleman fuel, if you run it on the Roncinol, works just as well. So they're cheap to run and maintain. You don't want to be losing them. If you're the sort of person that loses things all the time, maybe you want to stick to Bics. But for everyday carry, not having to pack it away. If you can fuel it once a week, if you remember to do that. I generally fuel my Zippo at the same time I change the batteries in my everyday carry flashlight. Never lets me down. Alright guys, just a couple of thoughts. Thanks for watching.